Buonasera, we are at day 16 of our wine quarantine. Today I want to take you back in northwestern Italy, specifically in Piemonte, and most importantly in a beautiful area called Langhe. Langhe is a series of tongues of land or hillsides that lock into each other and create one of the most marvelous sceneries, and also one of the most marvelous scenery for viticulture. But I don't want to talk about Barolo and Barbaresco, the two famous wines of the Langhe, but rather about the little forgotten cousin, which is called Dolcetto. So Dolcetto, throughout its history, it was a very important grape throughout Piemonte because it was the most planted grape in the region, and specifically in the Langhe. Unfortunately, after phylloxera struck Piemonte, things changed and people replanted mostly with Barbera and Nebbiolo, which are more commercially viable varieties, and Dolcetto continues unfortunately to decrease as far as plantings. But when it comes to the origin of the name, Dolcetto in Piemontese known as Dolcetto refers to the sweetness of the berries when they're fully mature, picked off a vine and eaten. Also tells us about the history of Dolcetto, which traditionally was also consumed as a table grape. Now, the place of origin of Dolcetto, supposedly some people believe is the Monferrato area, some people believe specifically is the township of Dogliani, where Dolcetto creates some of its ultimate expressions, and some people in Liguria feel that that's their own local grape, specifically in the area of Pornassio in western Liguria. Now, Dolcetto, it's susceptible to few issues, so it's a challenging grape to grow in the vineyards. One of them being that it grows very low to the ground, so it requires a lot of back-breaking work to be harvested. Another one that it suffers from too much humidity because it can rot easily. And thirdly, when the bunches are fully mature, it can easily drop berries right off the bunch. So as you can understand, not a lot of people want to work with Dolcetto because of these issues, but one of the positives of Dolcetto is definitely there is an early ripening grape, because in Piemonte, especially, we refer to Barbera and Nebbiolo, the other two major grapes, those are late varietals. So Dolcetto ripens usually about 3 weeks earlier, so it's something that they can make into wine, can be a wine that's sold, first and easier, and quite a quaffable, enjoyable glass of wine. Also for the purpose of cash flow, right? But today Dolcetto still has a relevant importance in the region of Piemonte. When you think about it, still 11 DOCs or DOCGs are basically involve the Dolcetto as a major grape in the base wines. As a matter of fact, some of the most important are definitely Dogliani, Diano d'Alba, d'Asti, but today I want to specifically demonstrate and talk about a Dolcetto from an area called Dolcetto d'Alba. And in this specific instance, we're going to taste the Dolcetto d'Alba by Gianni Gagliardo. So now, when we talk about Dolcetto d'Alba, we are referring to a fairly large area that covers all the southern part of the Langhe, so basically any village south of the Tanaro River, right? So when we look at the actual grape known as Dolcetto, we know there are some main characteristics. One being that the skin is fairly dark, so it gives wines that are fairly dark in color, nice beautiful ruby color with a nice purple inky coat to it. Then there's a medium plastanic structure, so it's definitely has a nice dry feeling on the palate. But one of the main lacking characteristics of Dolcetto is the low acidity. So let's take a sip, and again, this are the three brothers, Stefano, Alberto, and Paolo Gagliardo, still with their father Gianni behind them. For over 150 years, they've been making beautiful wines in the Langhe, specifically in La Morra. So you look at the color, again, it's got this beautiful ruby, purple highlights, very, very intense. Aromatically, Dolcetto always has these grapey characteristics. It's got plenty of brambly red fruit, but also red plum. Here I get a little bit of a, almost like a sweet tobacco, a little bit of licorice. And on the palate, this is 100% stainless steel Dolcetto. So immediately you sense the freshness. It's almost like crunchy type of berry, you're just bursting in your mouth. Very refreshing, great salivation on the palate, a little bit of sapidity. The wine is nice and dry on the palate. Acidity is medium for sure, it's not extremely low, but it's there. And ultimately, this is a wine that if you were in Piemonte, you'd be consuming with a couple of fantastic dishes, one being the corsetti, which is this local pasta shaped after the tree barks, made with the porcini mushrooms and some sausage ragu, or also with the classic salumi of the area, very nice and spiced black pepper coated salumi. But ultimately, dolcetto, it's a pleasure to the palate, also to enjoy with just a simple pizza margherita, right? It's all for tonight. In alto e cuori. Till tomorrow, and be well. Ciao.